Hey Salty Travelers, I wanted to talk to you guys for a minute about minimalist homeschooling and how it got started. So I'm sure in different forms and different terms, wordage, verbiage, whatever, minimalist homeschooling has been around for forever. It's basic, simple homeschooling or whatever. When we started doing what I call minimalist homeschooling, there was no such thing on the internet. There were 0 YouTube videos. There were 0 blog posts about it. I couldn't find anything. I was like, there's lots of stuff on minimalism. Why has no one written about minimalist homeschooling? Like, does no one minimize their homeschooling at all? So that's why I started writing about it years ago. So defining it, I feel like there's no, like I can't say, buy this curriculum, therefore it is minimalist homeschooling, or do this, this, and this, and then you will have done minimalist homeschooling. There's no way to, it's going to be different for everybody. That's the simplest way to say it. It's going to be different for everybody. So for you, this might be something that looks more like unschooling, where you are just reading to your kid and then doing math through living in nature and stuff like that. What it started for me was I was really overwhelmed, and we had different curriculum because, ooh, shiny new curriculum for every single subject. So if you've seen the Good and the Beautiful videos I recorded, everything is, a lot of the topics are included. I had geography curriculum, I had history curriculum, I had writing, I had grammar, I had spelling, every single topic that you could possibly do for homeschooling, and even new ones that I created. I had a separate curriculum for it, and I was driving myself crazy trying to get it all in, or trying to do like Charlotte Mason 15 minutes, you know, short lessons of lots of different topics. I was like, it was too all over the place for me. And maybe for my kids too. I'm not sure if we felt like we could really dive in. I know you can make it what you want and do them longer or whatever. Excuse me, but because I felt like I was supposed to do it a certain way, I couldn't do that. I was like, no, we've done 15 minutes, next. Like, I don't know, I guess I'm just still a little more type A than I'd like to admit, but nothing seemed to work. I guess you would call it eclectic homeschooling. For us, I love, you know, Waldorf, Montessori, Charlotte Mason. I like a little bit of classical thrown in there for a good measure. All different types of schooling put together. But when I tried doing that, then I still had too much curriculum. So then we just started pulling stuff out and going back to just basics. I want them to be able to read and add things. Okay, let's start there. And then in doing that, it felt a lot more calm. I was more calm. My kids were more calm. We didn't feel so overwhelmed. We didn't feel rushed. We didn't feel pressured. Also, some of that pressure would come from myself. So if I see beautiful things in Instagram or other people's blogs doing all these amazing things with lots of different curriculum, I had to learn to just let that go. Okay, I can't do all of those things, and I'm one person. I'm not going to do a bunch of cool art activities or it's just not going to fit my personality. I like to do fun activities with my kids, but we're not going to do them every week or even every day. I said that backwards, every day or even every week, whatever. You feel me, you follow me. So I just feel like I'm trying to get out there that it's not one specific thing and therefore now you are a minimalist homeschooler. It's going to be different for everybody. So as long as you have changed the way that you're homeschooling, you're not consuming and bringing in a bunch of things, and your day feels more calm, maybe more focused even, or even more adventurous and freeing, you have achieved minimalist homeschooling, okay? It's not like a benchmark type thing. So for you, that might be with a curriculum or without a curriculum. It might look a little more like unschooling with some schoolish time thrown in sometimes. We unschooled for the past 2 years, and in the beginning I think it was out of necessity, partly out of overwhelm, and then partly out of we didn't have the money to buy expensive things, and my kids still learned. And not only did they learn, but they flourished. Like Aubrey learned to read and to love it, and we did that without a curriculum. Now we're using the Good and the Beautiful with her because she loves it, And that is, my kid loves reading. The one that hated reading loves reading, guys. And it's helping her build fluency, and she's really enjoying it. I don't want you to feel like you have to purchase things to give your kids an amazing education or wonderful childhood. You don't. We got to let go of that pressure. You don't have to live a perfect Instagram story life. You don't have to measure up to anybody else's standard of what a good education is. As long as your kids are enjoying their childhood, they're learning. I mean, we don't do tests or assessments except for what's required by our state. So I just felt like I needed to say that so that you guys aren't feeling, I don't want anyone to feel when they come to the blog that they have to have certain things to be a minimalist homeschooler, or I don't know. I want us, there's so much that us moms can feel guilt over, that this is one of those things I just want to like, just let it go. Like, look at my messy bed. There's some boxes from, what's that, UPS on the floor. Like, my house isn't perfectly clean. My kids don't always do math every single day. Sometimes we go a week or two without doing any. Okay? You don't have to finish your curriculum if you're using any by the end of the school year. You don't. It's okay. Just pick up where you left off. It's okay. So I hope any of this is helpful. Maybe help relieve some of that stress that you're holding on to, or that overwhelm. I have spent so much money on curriculum, and maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. If you can't, hey, you made a good choice. On so-and-so said, this is the best curriculum for reading, and for us it wasn't, or this worked for every single one of my kids, it'll work for yours too, and then it didn't, and I felt like a failure. What am I doing wrong, or what's wrong with my kid, or what's wrong with me? So don't worry about that, okay? Here's a hug. Okay, come get a hug. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. You don't need to try to live up to anything more than what you are. You're doing great, okay? You're doing great, Mom. If someone hasn't told you that today, you're doing a fantastic job. You care enough about your kid to worry about whether or not you're doing enough. And just the fact that you're worrying whether or not you're doing enough tells me that you're doing enough and you're doing great. There's no, I mean, I know each state has its own regulations, but I mean, as long as you're meeting that, you're doing great. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So that's all I'm going to say. And I'm sorry that I just did that. I'm not editing this out. I don't have time to edit stuff out. So I just throw it all up there, and you guys can see how goofy and ridiculous I am. This is how I am. Okay, this is me. So I think that's all I'm going to say in this video. So there was no such thing as minimalist homeschooling on the internets. There were no YouTube videos. There were no blog posts. No one was talking about it. So I started writing about it. And then people started finding that interesting. So, and I didn't realize that there were so many of us out there that are similar. So we don't live inside a box. We don't follow any guidelines for life other than the ones that Christ set for us. Okay, that's it. Everything else is just icing. As long as we're living up to what our God's plan is for our life, that's all that matters. So everything else is just stuff. It's no big deal. So, welcome to our community. If you're new, the Salty Trap community, we have a Facebook group, and I'll link that below. You can follow us on Instagram. I like to chat and talk to you guys. You guys can email me if you have a question. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm just rambling. I'm so sorry. If you made it this far, gold star. Maybe go get yourself some extra tea for making it this far in my silly video. So that's all I really want to say right now about minimalist homeschooling and how it started. So I'm so glad now, though, last thing, I promise I'll shut up. I'm so glad now that there's so many people talking about minimalist homeschooling, and that there's other YouTube videos and bloggers and Instagrammers talking about minimalist homeschooling. That's awesome. That's awesome, because now I feel like there's just a plethora of different insights on minimalist homeschooling, and there's other people that you can bounce ideas off with and chat with and see what they're doing. And don't worry, you don't have to live up to anything that any of us are doing, but as long as you're enjoying your schooling and your kids are learning and having fun, that's all that matters, really. So just check everybody else out. I think there's other, maybe I'll find some and link them below, but there's other like YouTubers doing minimalist homeschooling stuff. So good stuff, guys. So that's it. watching that back, I realized that maybe next time I should write myself a little bullet-pointed script so I don't sound like, I'm sorry, I was all over the place. They were just my thoughts on minimalist homeschooling, how it started, before there was a such thing called minimalist homeschooling on the internet, and now there is a thing and there's lots of people talking about it, which is awesome. It's awesome because variety, spice of life, something like that. Cliche. Add your cliche here. Anyways, so that's it. So minimalist homeschooling, it is what it is. It's not any specific script or recipe. It's whatever works for your family. That's it. So I hope that helped.